Beneath the castle, at the very edge of the mysterious forest, where the sound of a murmuring river could be heard from afar, stood Elvin, a little traveller who had set out on a journey to the magical land of Albotéria. His quest was to find the golden seeds that would allow him to speak with a shimmering stone hidden in the royal city. He had already found the first seed in an enchanted castle guarded by Professor Mayowstein, a very wise cat. Now he kept it safely tucked inside a small pouch hanging by his belt. His next task was to find the second golden seed, one of 8, hidden somewhere in the harbour town of Horizon. The fastest way to get there was by following the River of Dreams, which flowed just beyond the forest. Elvin built himself a small raft from soft wood he had gathered in the forest. He tied the logs together with ropes he had woven from the reeds growing by the riverbank. When everything was ready, he sat down in the grass and unfolded his old map once more. Then he noticed something he hadn't seen before. In the corner, tiny letters were written on the back. When you sail down the river, travel carefully and listen well. When the river starts to twist and rush, steer quickly to the shore. You'll have to continue on foot. But perhaps you'll be lucky and meet the great trading ship that sails, now and then, to the harbour with spices from Africa. Elvin carefully rolled the map back up, put it in his backpack, took a deep breath, and set off on his way. The River of Dreams was strange. Sometimes it flowed thick and golden like honey. Other times it rippled gently like leaves in the wind. But for now the journey went smoothly. Elvin let the current carry him along. At night he watched the stars reflected in the water, and during the day he talked to the raindrops that fell playfully on his nose. One evening, as the fog lifted and the water slowed, Elvin spotted an old badger sitting on a rock by the shore. The badger was puffing on a pinecone pipe and waved lazily at him. "Where are you headed, young one?" the badger growled without moving. "To the harbour of Horizon," Elvin called back. "I'm searching for a golden seed." The badger studied him for a moment, then slowly nodded. "Golden seeds, you say? I've heard they're rare and well guarded. But if you find them all, they'll lead you to the shimmering stone. It's said to reveal a great secret and grant one true wish. Good luck, boy. Oh, and beware. When the river starts singing a sea song, your raft won't be enough anymore." And indeed, a few days later, the river grew wide and wild, so wide that its banks disappeared. The water turned deep blue, and great waves began to rise. The raft rocked restlessly, as if it knew its time was nearly over. Then, in the distance, Elvin saw a ship, vast and beautiful, with silver sails and a hull made of moonwood. On its bow stood the captain, a tall woman with hair like sea foam and eyes that seemed to gaze far beyond the horizon. "Are you looking for the harbour?" she called. "Yes," shouted Elvin, waving his hands. "May I come aboard?" "I can be useful. I'm a great cook." The captain smiled and invited him on board. The crew was made up of tiny little men who all looked strangely alike. But they were friendly and loved to sing. Elvin cooked them a delicious vegetable soup, and in return they taught him a cheerful sailor's hymn. That evening the captain told him that she had once met a thin stranger in the harbour who spoke of the golden seed, hidden inside a golden flower that bloomed in an abandoned house on the town square. But no one had ever figured out how to get inside. There was no key, or if there was, it was lost somewhere in the world, and whenever someone tried to break in by force, the house simply vanished. The voyage passed quickly, and in just 2 days the first towers of the harbour appeared on the horizon. As they approached, the captain ordered the anchor to be lowered, and they glided gently toward the pier, where workers were already waiting with empty sacks to load the precious spices. Elvin said a heartfelt goodbye to the crew, sang the sailors' hymn one last time, thanked the captain, and set off to find the old house. Did you enjoy this story? Are you curious to find out what happens next, and whether Elvin will manage to find the golden seed? Then hit subscribe and give this video a like. On Saturday, you can listen to what happens next, and tomorrow you'll find this same story in English. During the week, stay tuned for another magical fairy tale